Okay, well, I know we've got a small group today, but we'll kick it off, and if anyone else joins in later, we are recording the session so that it can be listened to afterwards. So welcome to everybody from Morgan Stanley, and thanks for your time today. Just going to run through our RAP Migration Masterclass and cover off some key points for you with respect to the new migration dates, so when you can expect to be moving. Also, the key things to be aware of and to focus on in the lead up to migration for readiness for yourself and also your clients. Additionally, we'll look at the key dates for communication in terms of what you'll be receiving, the dealer group will be receiving, and most importantly, your clients as well. There's a section just on the bottom right-hand corner for Q&A. If you'd like to just type any questions you have into there, and then when we get to the end of the presentation, we'll seek to address those no matter what they are. And for those that we can't address here and now, we'll undertake to get back to you as soon as possible through Michelle Blackwood. So we'll just kick through to the agenda now. As I said, just very briefly, wanting to help you with preparing for migration, the key points, what we've learned from the 2 successful tranches that we've run so far, being our pilot tranche in December last year, and also our first major tranche, tranche 2, in March this year, where we moved approximately 40,000 clients and $15 billion across. So that was a largest tranche and quite successful. And in fact, will be a similar size to tranche 4, which will be the tranche that that your clients and your accounts will move across in. We'll cover off in a bit of time. Just also want to run through the support that's available to you because there is a dearth of support, and it's important that you know where it is and how to find it, and what you particularly may need to tap in. So hopefully we can help you shorten your search time for the information that you're needing for your particular clients and part of the business. And then some questions, as I said, at the end, which we'll address as we go. So just type them in if you have any questions in the Q&A box. That would be great. Okay, so just kicking straight into slide 4. Thanks, Matt. One more forward. One of the key things is client data, and that's what we found to date. And what's already being done at a head office level is that the client data has been updated and uploaded. So we should be in a pretty good position for this overall for Morgan Stanley as a group, but we are doing a data refresh at the moment, and if we have any further needs, then no doubt that'll be managed, I think, through the head office relationship there via Michelle. But the key thing around data that we need is to make sure that the information that we've got in RAP is accurate, first of all, because it can get dated. Second of all, we want to make sure that any gaps that we have in the information requirement, because Panorama, being a contemporary platform, has different requirements. Some of the RAP accounts may have been set up, for example, before AML, so they may be missing some key information. So that's the reason why we're running this data quality exercise, to make sure that when we kick you off with your Panorama accounts with clients, that we've got the premium level of data in terms of the data required, and also the accuracy and quality. One of the challenges that we face is we have 2 core sources of data with respect to this. So we have the RAP data, and we also have our data for those of your clients that may have Westpac accounts, Westpac data, Westpac accounts, or business products, etc. Where we have conflicting data, we have actually gone and asked for that to be clarified in terms of, so it may have a mobile in RAP, but they've updated it perhaps in their Westpac systems. So we've also sought to update that. Sometimes that's a little bit confusing because we're asking for data, but you're looking on the RAP desktop, you're saying, hey, it's there. Well, that would explain that if anyone does ask you for it. But as I said, we'll be channeling that and managing that through head office. So hopefully not too much impact for yourselves individually. Okay, next key point, and we won't touch on anything that's already been handled, but we'll just move to the next slide. Thanks, Matt. Beauty. Just with respect to data, just that final point, what I wanted to run through is just the impact of that. So if we don't have emails, mobiles, gender, GST registration, company registration, then clients will be migrated in the tranche that you're allocated to, which is tranche 4. But there'll be some limitations in terms of the online functionality, obviously with requirement for email and mobile to have that online functionality. And then there's the AML impact stuff. So that's those listed there on the left-hand side. As I said, this presentation will be made available for you, so you'll have access to this information. But clients will be migrated, but there may be some blocks on some of the transacting, depending on the AML laws at that point in time. And then we'll need to update that. So we'll be very conscious of making sure that we've got that sorted out at the head office level for you. Okay, just moving forward. Communications is really important, and in essence, from a client communications perspective, there's 3 key moments. So there was the announcement of migration, which of course has already occurred, and then in the lead up to the weekend, they will receive what's called a client migration notice, or it's a SEN that we call it, a significant event notice, and that'll have all of the information and all of the detail with respect to that. That they require for their individual move across. And then obviously they'll receive post the migration weekend their registration emails. So in terms of the dates with respect to that, very soon that pre-client migration notice communication will be going out to head office, to Morgan Stanley. Should be occurring around the 14th of April. Is what we have that scheduled for. Now these dates are subject to some change if for a variety of reasons, but at the moment scheduled that we'll get an example or template copy of that client significant event notice or migration notice will go through to head office on the 14th of April and go through to you as individual advisors on the 21st of April. So you can expect to get a copy of that migration notice. I'd certainly highly recommend that you read through that. There's 3 parts to that document. There's the cover information, which talks about client specific, which is quite short. There's the fee schedules at the back of that information as well. And then there's the bulk of the information, which talks about all of the changes that may or may not be applicable from RAP to Panorama. So it's quite a detailed note or letter document. Many of your clients probably won't read through that detail, but I certainly suggest that you do take the time to read through that detail, because that will answer a lot of those queries that may come up either from the clients or from yourselves and your teams. So the clients will actually be receiving that between the 5th and the 7th of May. So you'll have plenty of notice, a good 2 or so weeks before the clients receive that to be across that information. And you may in fact want to give that information out to those particular clients, get a template out, communications out, and again we have templates available for that, whether that's done at a head office level or whether you want to do something individually for your client base. That will be for you guys to decide, but certainly templates available on the Migration Hub, which we'll cover off in a moment before they get that. The next piece of communication will be around the 27th of May for head office and around the 3rd of June for you as advisors, which is the fact that we're on schedule. So we're go at that stage for migration to occur. And then obviously we have our migration date for you being our 4th tranche on the weekend of the 19th and 20th of June. Okay, so the Saturday and the Sunday, and we'll have a look at what that weekend looks like in the lead up and also beyond that, so you can be prepared for that. The next piece of communication obviously will be on the Monday, and that'll go to you individually and to Morgan Stanley head office that the migration's been successful or not. And then on the Tuesday, that gives you a day again to advise your clients or interact with your clients. And then on the Tuesday, we'll be sending out the confirmation of migration success to clients. And that will obviously include their registration email as well, their registration details for Panorama. So quite a few communications there, a good sequence of events, always looking to keep you informed well in advance of your clients, so that as those queries come in, you can address them, or if you want to proactively go out with communications to your clients to expect this coming, then that's also been a positive strategy for businesses that have already been through migration. Okay, just moving forward. Thanks, Matt. Transaction freeze periods. Now, these are really important, and it's an important one to understand and be across, because in the lead up to migration, so that weekend of the 19th and 20th, Saturday being the 19th, so in the lead up to that weekend, if you count back 8 days, and these are calendar days, not business days, then these are the current transaction freeze periods that apply. So you can see there, obviously listed security transactions, buyers and sells. We'll be looking 3 days prior to that, and we'll update these with actual dates and times. And also online cash transactions are probably the most common ones that you'll be looking to do in the lead up to the end of June. So be aware that those particular transactions won't be able to be submitted in those timeframes. We've tried to minimise that freeze period as little as possible, but it's important for us to be able to close the books off, make sure we've got all that information ready to migrate, and then, all being well, we'll be up and running. The plan is on the Monday, straight after that weekend. So we shouldn't have an outage for tranche 4. For Panorama, you should be able to get online and make any trades and activities and deposits, etc., which you'll then have 8 full days of business days in the lead up to 30 June. So that should be plenty of time to make sure that those final contributions, etc., are all getting in and all aligned with the right clients and the right accounts. Any regular contributions that are coming in, and BPays, they'll be redirected for you, so you won't need to worry about those changeovers, but there will be some activity for you to have to do following that first week period, and we can run through that as well. So really important to be aware of these transaction freeze periods. These are the days out from the 19th of June, which is your relevant migration weekend, 19th and 20th. So we'll move on from transaction freezes. Who's actually migrating? So a critical point for you to make sure that you're well aware of all your clients and how they're moving. So all Morgan Stanley clients will be moving in tranche 4, as agreed with the group, and that list will be published as soon as we have that finalised on the Wrap desktop. So you can see, you just go into reports, and there's a report about halfway down the page there, migration client list, which will list your clients and also their migration data status. So up until we declare that final list, it'll probably say unscheduled in migration status, but then further on down the track, as we firm up that list, they'll come in as being scheduled, and a date will be in there for you. So you can access it via the Wrap desktop under those key alerts, if you like. The other place that you can access it as well, which will have information, will be via the advisor portal. And we'll just show you how to access that on the next slide. So the client portal here for advisors, you go in via the Wrap desktop. You can see that little tile there on the bottom left-hand side. If you click on that, that'll take you through to this client portal, and that'll actually have the fee favourability as well, which will show you at the point in time the way we've calculated the fees that are currently being applied. So if there's any individual rates or special rate cards applied to the client Wrap portfolio, it'll show those, and then it will compare what it would look like to the BT Panorama fixed pricing, the open pricing. And whatever gives a better outcome for the client is the fee card or rate card that they will retain on their migration to Panorama. So if the new rate card gives them a better outcome in total with all fees incorporated, then they'll move to the BT Panorama. But if their existing situation, they may have a special deal which is negotiated for them. If that gives them a better outcome, then they'll retain that on migration. So no client will be worse off, and in fact, some may be better off in this situation. So you'll be able to view that and witness that when we put that up live on the client portal, which again will be in the lead up to tranche 4. At the moment, our focus is on tranche 3, which is going on the 22nd and 23rd of May. But certainly once we move through that same communication sequence for T3, then we'll be proceeding to T4, tranche 4 for you with all of your clients. Okay, just moving forward. What actually happens on the migration weekend? Right, so in the lead up on that Friday the 18th of June, Then RAP will go offline on that Friday afternoon. So you'll have all of your clients as you currently see that on RAP will remain there. And then in that weekend, the Saturday and Sunday, well, starting from the Friday night at 6 o'clock Sydney time, we actually commence all of the sequence and the process roll-throughs that need to happen. And that is managed all the way through to Sunday afternoon, and Sunday midday is when we confirm with the ASX that we are green light go, or if there's any issues that have come up unexpectedly over the weekend, which means we can't migrate, then we'll know it at that time and we'll be able to get communication out Sunday night to the dealer group. But all being well so far, as we have done for tranche 1 and tranche 2, we've gone through that green light period, and then on Sunday, it usually finishes off on Monday morning, early hours, and then the system Panorama coming up ready for activity on the Monday. In that week 1, we'll send through those communications, as we said, so confirmation to you and to Morgan Stanley that migration has been successful on the Monday, and then on the Tuesday, the communication's going out to your clients with a staggered release of emails with the registration details. There are some very successful and available support materials, and I say successful because they've been utilised and they've been developed, in fact, with practices that have gone through migration state. So certainly a reminder to have a look at those, and I'll show you where you can get access to those. And then on the Thursday after the migration, so that would be the 23rd of June, 24th, sorry, of June, we will have a migration week 1 webinar where if there's been any issues that we're attending to and identified and fixing, we'll be giving you an update on that Thursday. Or if not, then just touching base with everybody, making sure that any questions or queries that you've got we can address within that time frame. So that's effectively what your migration weekend will look like from the 18th of June, the Friday, right through for that first week, where we do have a very strong hypercare model in place to support any queries, general operational queries with Panorama, or any support queries in terms of any issues that may come up either systemically across the badge for Morgan Stanley, or specific to individual client circumstances. So a high amount of care and functionality and options available to you to access during that period. Okay, just moving forward again. So what is that support that's available to you that I've been talking about? Well, let's have a look at, in fact, what we do have for you here and now. So these briefing sessions, obviously a key part of that, a connection at head office level through Michelle Blackwood and Nick Blue as well. The digital hub, which is our migration website, which is really the center point of all information and communication for migration. And I certainly encourage you to have a look, and I'll show you that in a moment. Obviously, you've got direct access to your BDM team and also our client relations team for those individual queries. And we have a host of Panorama training videos and modules, which are available at call for you to run through in your time on any particular item that you may want a little bit more information about. Panorama, of course, is Australia's leading contemporary platform. It's the fastest growing platform. With the migration done to date, we are a $50 billion platform, $50 billion platform, with a significant number of accounts having moved across into it. And so we'll be north of 100,000 accounts. And we're managing to do that and increase the service levels and increase the efficiency and proficiency of the system itself in terms of its response times and access to information. So it is a different system. It's a different system to RAP, which I was around for when we set that up in 1998 on some very functional IT architecture at the time. But going forward, it wouldn't be able to support the changing requirements of platforms and what they need to do for you and your clients and your practice as well, in terms of delivering advice compliance, fee compliance, functionality around portfolio management and control, flexibility around digital consent, the ability for your clients, literally like that photo there, to have the control in the palm of their hand to acknowledge your advice and give you consent. And then that flows right through into your reporting software and can detail ROAs and a whole stack of functional things which will reduce time and in your practice on those sorts of things, which then increases time available for you to engage with clients and talk face to face. So it has been very successful. The app certainly is hugely successful and award winning for multiple years in a row, and continues to be the primary source of access to Panorama details for clients, given the flexibility of it and the freedom of it. Certainly your retiree clients like it. Wherever they are in the countryside, they can access it. So we've got some detailed FAQs on the digital hub as well. You know, the common questions that you may be asking about what's the difference and what may be happening for this particular aspect around Centrelink, around fees, around functionality, etc., with respect to your wrap accounts moving across. And of course, our online chatbot, which is nicknamed Blue, and also our guides, so you can actually work through that with a full walk me system, and click to chat, which is very, very popular, as it's a time efficient way to get your questions answered via the Panorama desktop. So multiple avenues of support there available to you. We'll just deep dive into a couple of those for you, one being the digital hub. So the Advisor Migration Hub is what we're referring to here, and you can see the address there on the left-hand side. In essence, everything that's relevant to migration is on here. We update it first here, and it's always in the What's New section on that leading page. But certainly would recommend that you go into this, have a flick through the FAQs, very easy to follow. Any disclosure docs or documents or forms that you need as well will be in there for you to have a look. The templates, the assistance that we've got for you to engage and communicate with your clients, also available on there. So take a bit of time to work your way through that website. It should be fairly easy to follow, but again, if not, or if there's something not in there or you can't find it, absolutely pick up the phone, give us a call, shoot us an email, and we're available here for you through your usual channels and contact channels at BT. The other one, which is really handy, is the investor migration website, which is just the next slide. And where this is really handy is where practices have used this, is sending the link for this, which is embedded in the advisor site. So if you go on the advisor site, you'll find it in there pretty readily. Is sending this to some of their clients that are looking for more information. We often joke around the engineers and the teacher clients that like to have all the details. Whatever the client that you have that looks for that more information, greater information, you can actually send them to this website. It's certainly a call to actions around advice. It is very client friendly, and it will give them a lot of that information to free up your time from answering quite specific information for those clients. And I think would be a good starting point to point any of your clients that have detailed information requests or queries with regard to Panorama and the migration from their wrap account. So give that a go and send that through to those particular clients. And of course, go in and have a look yourself and see what you think about it. Any feedback, certainly welcomed. Okay, just moving on to the next slide. We talked about the advisor training and the webinars. You can see the website there, bt.com.au/BT Panorama Training. The BT Academy training is a wonderful site. It's broken down into modules, as you can see, 7 course modules with different particular focus areas within each module. So you can really pick and choose and run through what's relevant to you, what's important to you, what you're looking to improve upon or better understand, improve your understanding of, rather than having to trawl through a whole series of information that may not be relevant to you or that you're already comfortable with. So certainly encourage you to log on to that site for yourself or your support staff, anyone in your business, to have a look through in your time when it's convenient for you, and work through some of those courses and understand some of those concepts with respect to the new functionality and the digital functionality of Panorama, but also some of the differences. There's training modules in there on what's different between wrap and Pano. This is how you used to do it on wrap. How do you now do it on Panorama? So that could be particularly helpful from a practical perspective. Okay, thanks, Matt. Just keep on moving. Okay, really important checklist, and this is one of the tools that I alluded to that we worked on with previous practices that have gone through Panorama through Tranche 1 and Tranche 2. This is a migration checklist. It's in the Documents and Downloads section of the Advisor website, and I strongly encourage you to to go in and grab it and download it. What it is it's a point-by-point checklist of all the things that need to be ticked off as done or not needed to be done, depending on the relevance to your business, with respect to the migration, RAP to Panorama migration in the lead up to it, and also then beyond that first week and beyond that first week. So it'll cover off some of those points. May not make sense to you now, but as you read through the client notice, migration notice that's coming out to you, and you start to understand some of the key points which work with the Panorama migration, you'll be able to see in terms of updating details, for example, with employers for superannuation contributions, making sure clients receive their BT Pano Rego email and that they understand that, ensuring that you're all set up with your correct permissions and access on Panorama. But certainly this will work through that. If there's any forms that are required, so for example, to update employers with the new Panorama super account details, then there's a link to that form, digital link on the checklist there, so you can click on that and that'll give you that form. One thing we would recommend from previous experience from other practices is they've said to certainly clear out and allow ample time in your diary for that first week of migration. So the week beginning Monday, 21st of June, you should have plenty of time in there to be able to manage any client queries that come up, any particular outbound communications that you want to have with your clients. So try and keep it relatively review free. Obviously a busy time of year with end of year requirements as things come through for clients, end of year, financial year tax planning. But if you can keep it as free as possible, that enables you to have the time and flexibility to manage anything that that may come up unexpectedly, or the expected and required follow-up features in that first week, which are all detailed on this two-sided RAP to Pano migration checklist. So certainly encourage you to go into documents and download section and get that one and have a look through it, work through it for your particular client base. Okay, thanks, Matt. So hopefully that's a lot of information, but hopefully we've been able to cover off a lot of your queries in that 30 minutes. As I said, this information is available to you. This is being recorded, this webinar, and the presentation made available to you. So all of those dates that you'll have, that I mentioned before, you'll have access to rather. So 19th and 20th of June is the key one in terms of your tranche when your clients will be moving for all Morgan Stanley clients. And the next communication you can expect will be the 21st of April in terms of confirmation and detail of that client migration notice. And then the clients will get that on the 5th to the 7th of May. Those with an email will get it on the 7th of May. Those that don't have email and require hard copy to be posted, we start that process on the 5th of May so that everybody tries to sort of get that around about the same time. Then you'll get your on schedule communication coming through to you on the 3rd of June that we're all on track and everything's running to schedule. And then of course on the lead up, don't forget those transaction freezes. Make sure you've got all any larger transactions or advice implementation done in the lead up to that where possible, so that you don't get hindered by any of those particular transactions. Okay. So that's enough from me. As I said, visit the Migration Hub, have a look, there's the address there. But if there's any questions at all to pop into the Q&A, we can address those. So I'll just give us a couple of minutes just to have a look at those. Okay, so no questions is usually a good sign that you've got all the information. Hopefully no one's being too shy and that you feel that you've got all that information available to you. But as I said, if you do think of anything post today's session, please don't hesitate to contact your usual BDM or come through the group via Michelle, who's managing at that head office level and keeping all that information flowing to make sure that we're across everything. We've got the new badge launch coming through, a lot of activity over the next 8 weeks or so, and we're really looking forward to working closely with you to deliver Panorama to you and your clients. As I said, the fastest growing contemporary platform in the market, so and continually improving all the time on what it can be, and we'll hopefully then future-proof that platform selection for you, because platform change is not something you want to be doing every 5 or 10 years. It's something that you want to set in stone where possible and have continually improved for you. So with that, I'll call an end to today's session. Thank you again for your time and your attendance. And if you have any queries, please reflect on the recorded version or come through those typical channels. Thanks very much and have a great day. Bye.